dream in time gone by, and hope was high and life was living. But the tigers come alive, with their voices soft as thunder, as they tear your hopes apart. That we would live years together, but never please and cannot
be. Be seated in the court of HUROPEL. I am Madame le Judge of the European Court of HUROPEL. I am presiding over the court case of John, older person. John, older person, is 83 years old. He lives in sheltered housing with his wife, although his doctors think they should live in sheltered accommodation. He has only his pension and state benefits to live off. He has been visiting a local nursing home as a volunteer to try and incite the residents to rebel against what he believes to be an oppressive staff group. He supports the residents' self-advocacy group, which he feels was totally tokenistic until he got involved. He feels that the staff probably hate him. John has had reduced mobility after a hip replacement operation, but can now walk long distances without pain. He has been told that he will need a pacemaker fitted as soon as possible. His wife has dementia. John still has many dreams. One of these is to wing walk on a plane 1,000 metres high. John, older person, you are charged on 2 counts. First, of being an older person and daring to be a dreamer. Second, you are charged with inciting revolution. The prosecution would like to state their case.
Thank you. Good morning. I would like to address members of the jury of the Court of HUROPEL, the judge, and last but not least, the defendant, John, older person, who stands before us. John stands here because he, and only he, has put himself into this position. John is charged with 3 offences on 3 grounds. First, he is a dreamer. Secondly, he is a drain on public resources. And third, he has incited a riot. Incited, yes. First, John lives in an imaginary world which does not exist in reality. He is a delusional dreamer who believes he can do anything. But, as we all know, he is a danger to himself and to others. We care very much about John, just as we care for all older people in society like him, but very few have the audacity to waste my time, your time as the jury, and all at the public's expense.
You are a wasteful drain on resources. These are not my words. These are not going to be the words that I'm going to speak. These are the words of an 88. Enough now. These are the words of an 88-year-old Baroness Warnock. So this is an old lady saying these words and not me. She is also an eminent, might I add, bioethicist. She is also a moral philosopher. So, John, this is not coming from me as a caring health professional, but from this lady here. And with all of that knowledge, she has to be correct. So what she also said was, older people should avoid at all costs, you remember this, at all costs, putting any further strain, not only on their families, but on public services, of which she is part of in the care home. And I almost forgot to mention that you have created a riot. You have created a mock. You've run amok in the nursing home. This is what everyone said. It was a peaceful, quiet nursing home. So I can only come to one conclusion, and it is only one conclusion you all leave from this court today, is that he, John, older person, is demented. I will pass you on to my learned friend who will now conclude our argument.
Thank you, my learned friend, for your considered and most insightful counsel. I would now respectfully like to take you all on a journey. We start at the quiet nursing home, Dunroman, where you languish at the state's expense, £500 a week, perhaps more, going up by the day. Indeed, to the judge and jury, you may appear a nice, peaceable, quiet man who appears harmless. But let me tell you otherwise. My dear friends, let me disabuse you of that notion. For John Olderperson is not the person you think he is. No. John has squandered public resources, public money, which would be better spent, as we all know. There's a national shortage of neonatal units. It would be better spent on a neonatal unit. Indeed, old people like John are literally taking the medicine and food out of the mouths of babies. John and his fellow nursing home friends, nay, would-be rioters, trashed the nursing home lounge under the influence of alcohol and drugs. And we all know that with your medication, John, that a combination of alcohol and it becomes mind-altering. You know that. Have some more self-control. You were found shouting at your friends, "Viva la Revolution." Yet there is good legal authority to show that John is not only an otherworldly fantasist, no, who has a wing-walking obsession. There are good grounds for convicting the defendant, John, of incitement to riot. I put it to you, the jury, and obviously to the lady judge, that if we are to let John Olderperson wing-walk, drain resources with a hip replacement, and later be contemptuously rewarded for our generosity with incitement to riot, and upturn our hard-fought-for values in society, this type of rabble-rousing and troublemaking and subversiveness would be paid for by you and me out of our own paychecks, out of our very own pockets. As confirmed by the leading case of Burke v. General Medical Council, the public sector budget is not a bottomless pit, as you may think, and can and should be taken into consideration in all such decisions. If we let John wing-walk and start a riot, where would we be? We would be failing everybody, not least you, John, because we all care about you. We do. We care about your needs and your health and safety. We have only concern. We therefore respectively put it to you, John, that you should be convicted on all 3 counts.
Yes.
I rest my case.
We rest our case.
Let me present the case of the defendant.
John Alderperson, 83 years old, has full capacity, has dedicated his life to his work in the community as a social worker for 40 years, always working to support the needs of others on behalf of the state, never taking a single day off in all those 40 years, not one. Are we now to deny John Alderperson, a pillar of the community, the chance to take something back for himself at a time when he needs it the most? Are we comfortable treating John as a mere passive object, patronising and excluding him from decision making? Today, not merely content to drain the state dry, as the prosecution would have it, John has selflessly committed and dedicated his spare time to supporting older people in his local residential home. Again, putting the needs of others before those of his own.
Always.
To deny John the opportunity to continue his volunteering role would seriously impact on his right to private life, restricting his participation in community life. The UN Principles for Older Persons clearly states that older people should be able to seek and develop opportunities for services to the community and to serve as volunteers in positions appropriate to their interests and capabilities. It's clear to the defence that John is in fact a victim of discrimination, subjected outrageously to patronising, ageist attitudes that compromise his inherent dignity as a human being, his respect and his independence. We would argue that the prosecution are guilty of failing to see John Alderperson as an individual, but rather are happy to talk sloppily and small-mindedly regarding John as part of a homogenous group in which few have little worth, capabilities, or anything to offer to society, rather than seeing a person with real and individual needs and aspirations. The defence maintains that John Alderperson is categorically not guilty of being a dreamer. He is a unique individual, an individual with rights that we have an obligation to uphold.
So, first of all, I want to ask you all if you really think that this man is guilty of being a dreamer. Doesn't everyone have the right to live his life as he wants? Including the dreams that someone has? Isn't it a human right to have access to information and knowledge that can empower you and have an impact on your life? I want to ask you all, is this something you can prosecute someone for? Therefore, I would like to call a witness. Simon, a resident from the nursing home. Take care, please.
Go slowly, please.
Okay.
Chair, please. Chair. Okay. Sit down slowly. Okay, do you want something? Okay.
Hello, Simon.
Hey.
So, do you swear that you are telling nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Okay, that's good. So, was this gentleman the one who came into your nursing home to speak to you?
Yeah, he is.
She is not blind. Can you confirm whether this man ever tried to tell you to rebel against the staff working there?
No, he simply informed us and he provided us with information. He reminded us also that we are people, real people with real rights. He is such an inspiration.
Did you ever feel under pressure from John Alderperson to form or take part in a kind of rebellion?
No, he simply informed us. Then we take action by ourselves.
Thank you very much, thank you. So,
Please. You can sit here, it's better.
So, as you heard, yes, he talked to the people in the nursing home. And yes, he gave them information about their rights. But is it wrong that if you are an older person, you still have rights? It is a human right to assemble people. It's a right to give them information. It's a right to express yourself, and everyone else can choose in the same way. This should mean that all the others also made up their opinion. John didn't incite the older people in the nursing home for a revolution. He just defended his rights as a human being, and he informed the others about their human rights. So, as you can see from the witnesses' response, they still have their own autonomy. So, that's mine.
Medical treatment, and especially the right to be able to reach the highest attainable status of health, is not a question of age, but a question of humanity. By refusing to give John older person a pacemaker, this will severely impact on his physical and mental health well-being. Refusing treatment will undoubtedly have serious implications for the right to respect for private life. What is more, John older person has the right to live his own life in a way he wants, especially because there's nobody who is able to give an appropriate definition about a good lifestyle. We are not allowed to judge the way how he wants to create his life. In response to the persecution, we can argue that the right of John older person taking part in ring walking cannot stand up in court. Life is full of risk every time. If we did not do something because it is risky, we would all lead very boring lives. So what we can do is to manage the risk and to ensure all necessary precautions are put in place to ensure John's safety, just as we would do with anyone else. John is aware of the risks involved and accepted these risks, having made an informed decision. And here went the case for the defense.